Hello class, let us start with the one more concept of fund capital, that is the retained earning. Let us see that business organizations are subject to variations in earning. Now earning is in the form of profit. Business organizations have earning in the form of profit. So there is a variation in earning. Why there is a variation in earning? Because the performance of the company varies according to the so many factors that have internally and that acts externally. So the factors which act internally, that also have an impact on that business organization, and there are certain factors which act externally that will also have some impact on the business organization, and because of these reasons there is a variation in earning. Variation in earning means there is a variation in profit. It would be a wise decision to keep aside a part of earning, that is a part of profit, during a period of higher profit. A prudent company does not distribute the entire profit earned among the shareholder. A part of profit is retained by the company in the form of reserve fund. A part of profit is being retained. Retained means it is being taken back by the management of the company. So whenever there will be a tough time for the company, so the company can utilize such amount of capital which has been retained out of the profit. A part of profit is to be retained by the company in the form of reserves. These reserves are retained earning of the company. The sum total of the retained earning gets accumulated over the period of years. This accumulated profit are reinvested in the business rather than distributed in the form of dividend. In simple word, a part of net profit which is not distributed to the shareholder as a dividend is retained by the company in the form of reserve fund. So that is a simple concept of retained earning. Now the company cannot convert its reserve into the company convert its reserve into the bonus share capital and capitalize its profit. This capitalization of profit by issue of bonus share is known as the plowing back of profit or self-financing. However, in the accounts, when you go in your higher classes and when you learn the accounts, that is the finance accounts, financial accounting. In that financial accounting, you are going to learn one concept that is called the capitalization of reserves. Now, what is the capitalization of reserve? Whenever the company have the profit, it will going to retain some part of the profit and they will going to put it into the special account that is called the cash reserve ratio account. And whenever the management of the company feels like using that capital into the business, the company will take out the capital from the CRR, from the reserve fund, and they will convert that reserve fund, they will convert that CRR into the capital account. How they convert the capital account? By using that particular amount, whatever the amount will be there in the CRR, they will use all those accounts and they will give the bonus shares to all the existing equity shareholders of the company. And because of that reason, the reserves, the funds that is available in the reserve, that will automatically get converted into the capital account, and because of this reason we call it as a capitalization of reserves. So I hope that you all are very much understood about the capitalization of reserves. Let us see the determinants of earning. The first one, total earning of the company. If there is an ample of profit, if there is a surplus of profit, company can save and retain some part of the profit. More the earning, the more the saving, less the earning, the less is the saving. Moreover, it also depends upon the attitude of the top management of the company, which also determines that how much amount the company will going to retain in the form of profit. So that is the first one. The next point is taxation policy. Taxation policy of the government is also one of the important determinants of corporate saving. If the taxes levied are at the high rate, then the company would saving will be very less, and if the profit if the taxes are levied at a low rate, then the company saving would be very high. So the taxation policy will also depend upon the retained profit of the company. The next one, that is called the dividend policy. If a policy of the board of directors is to distribution of profit, a conservative dividend policy is needed for having a good accumulation of profit. But if the policy affects the shareholder and they get dividend at a lower rate, so it depends upon the policy of the management. If the management of the company is very conservative in nature, then they will adopt more amount of profit into the retained part, and they will give less amount of profit in the form of dividend to the equity shareholders of the company, which again could be a reason of having a dissatisfaction among the shareholders of the company. So if the dividend policy are decided by the management in that way, the shareholder would not get satisfied, and if the management decides another policy where the retained profit would be less and the form of distribution of profit in the form of dividend would be very high, then the all the equity shareholders are very much agreed and they are very happy with the policy of the board of directors of the company. The next one is a government control. A government is a regulatory body of economic system of a country. Its policy, rules and regulations ensure that the companies work as per its regulation. Company has to formulate its dividend policy in accordance with the rules and regulations of the government. So there are various national institutions are there which has been set up by the state as well as by the central government, and according to the policies that has been formulated over these particular institutions, the company have to follow the same. So the rules and regulations also depend upon the we can say it's also depend upon the government how the profit should be retained by them in the particular manner. So here we have studied about the retained profit and the determinants in the retained earning. So here we have completed the concept of owned capital of the company, and now we are moving towards the next concept, that is a borrowed capital of a company. Only owned capital of a company is not sufficient to carry the business activities of a joint stock company. If the company feels that we need a capital and only one source of finance, that is the owned capital, if they keep on using that particular source of finance, then it would not be sufficient for the company to carry out all its business activity. On the contrary, it would be very difficult for the management of the company to start its business or to run out its business activity or to move on with the contracts or agreements that is being done by the third party. So here, because of this limitation, there is another source of finance has been created, and that is known as a borrowed capital. A company needs borrowed capital to supplement its owned capital in the normal practices, which is being expressed in the provision of memorandum of association enabling the company to borrow the money, and memorandum authorizes the company to exercise the borrowing power, whereas articles of association provide as to how and by whom these powers shall be exercised. So here memorandum of association gives the powers to the company to exercise the power of borrowing the funds from the another source of finance, that is a borrowed capital, and in articles of association of the company it ensures that who have the power, who can take the decision, and how the decision need to be exercised and executed by the company so that it can raise the finance from the market. The power to borrow the money is normally exercised by the board of directors of the company. A private company may exercise its borrowing power immediately after the incorporation. So here this particular statement is very important for us. There are two kind of companies there. One is a private limited company, another one is a public limited company. Private limited both the company, private limited as well as a public limited company, will be formed after getting the certificate of incorporation. So when the private limited company need to be formed or a public limited company need to be formed, they both the company have to get registered under the Indian Companies Act 2013 at the register office of the company, and both the company will get the certificate of incorporation, whereas when the private limited company will get the certificate of incorporation, they can immediately start their business activities. Whereas in the public limited company, there is a commencement of business certificate is also needed. In public limited company, when the commencement of business certificate they will get, then only they can start their business activities. Whereas in the private limited company, after getting the certificate of incorporation, they can start their business. So here it says, this particular point says that when the private limited company gets the certificate of incorporation, they can immediately start exercising their powers of borrowing the capital. However, the public limited company cannot exercise this power until and unless it has a commencement of business certificate, and this commencement of business certificate is again issued by the registrar of company. The capital may be borrowed from this source for the short term period, for the medium term, and also for the long term in nature. It is better to raise the borrowed capital at the later stage of the company's business, when the company wanted to expand the business or diversify the business. The two concepts, expansion of business and diversification of business, move on with the similar, goes on with the same time, but expansion and diversification are two different concepts. Expansion of business means what? When the business is been operated at the local level, and when because of the immediate effort of the board of director, when they moved from local level to the national level and from national level to the international level, that means it is an expansion of business. And the next one, that is a diversification of business. It means when the course of business activity or the business operation has been changed from one line of business to the another line of business, that means the diversification of business. For example, let us take Reliance Industries Limited. Reliance Industries Limited is not only doing the business in the powers, but they are having the many kind of categories of business. So retailing business is also associated with that Reliance Industries Limited. We can say importing of crude oil, petroleum products, they are also doing that kind of business. Now the defense deal they have got from the government of India, they are doing that kind of business also. So that is known as a diversification of business. Okay, I hope that you all are understood with the expansion and diversification of business. So whenever the company wanted to expand the business, whenever the company wanted to diversify the business, they wanted to have the more amount of capital, and the borrowed capital, again, that will be one of the source where it can be provided to the board of directors of the company. They can raise the capital from the borrowed source for the short term in nature, medium term in nature, as well as in the long term in nature. And there are various we can say various things are there, how they can borrow the capital from the borrowed source of capital. They can issue the debentures, they can accept the deposits, even they can issue the bonds, they can also raise the loan from the banks as well as financial institutions. The trade credits are also available. So there are various methods through which they can raise the capital from the borrowed source. Now here we are going to learn the first concept, that is the debentures. Let us see the debentures in more detail. Debentures are one of the principal source of raising borrowed capital to meet the long and the medium term financial needs. So it is like a credit capital for the company, where the debentures holders provide the capital to the company for the medium term as well as for the long term in nature. Over the years, debentures have occupied a significant, that is the most important position in the financial structure of any particular company. So you all are doing an accounts. In an accounts, when you prepare the balance sheet of the company, there also you can see the term called debentures. Okay? So capital is there, creditors is there, debentures are also there. So you can easily find out in balance sheet, you can easily find out the debentures and the amount that has been raised by the company through this method called debentures. The word debenture came from Latin word that means debere, which means to owe something. Whenever the company owe the amount from a particular investor and it is need to be paid after a specified period of time along with the interest, that means debenture. I hope that you all are very much clear about the debenture. Debere, Latin word may debere, or normally in English we call it as a debenture. The term debenture has not been defined clearly under any Companies Act. But according to section 2 subsection 30 of the Companies Act 2030 only states that the word debenture include debenture stock, bonds and any other instruments of the company evidencing a debt capital, whether constituting a charge on the assets of the company or not. So here the word debenture is not been specified, that if the company issue one particular thing and it says that it is a debenture of the company, so we can say one company, if the company A has issued one particular document acting as a debenture, company B has also issued one particular document that can also be act as a debenture. So here debenture term has not been defined any particular document specifically, but it says that it can include the stock, it can also include the bonds and any other instruments that evidencing the debt capital for the company. So anything, it may be anything, it may be stock, it can be bond, it can be any other instruments which act as an evidence as a debt capital for the company, and it can also constitute whether the charge has been created on the company's asset or not. So we can say if the charge has been created on the assets of the company, we can say it is a debenture, and if the charge is not been created on the assets of the company, we can say that time also we call it as a debenture. So it does not having any problem whether the charge is created or not. Under the existing definition, a debenture include debenture stock, documents which either creates or acknowledge the debt capital for the company. Ordinarily, debenture constitute a charge on some property of the company, but there are many debentures without such charge. So I hope that you all are very much clear about creating a charge on the assets of the company. In my last lecture also I have explained you the term called charge, creating a charge on the assets of the company or not having a charge on the assets of the company. Let us see the definition. There are two definitions given in this particular page. That is, first definition given by Palmer. It defines a debenture as an instrument under the sale evidencing the debt, the essence of it being admission of indebtedness. So it is like a document which acts as an evidence that this is a debt capital for the company. The company have to repay back to the investor along with the interest that has been promised to him. The next definition is given by Topham. Debenture is a document given by a company as evidencing of debt to the holder, usually raising out of the loan and most commonly secured by a charge. So this definition is also very similar to the first one that has been given by the Palmer, saying that any document which acts as a debt capital for the company, whether it is being commonly secured by creating a charge or not secured by creating a charge, but it is raised out of loan, as a loan. So here I hope that you all are very much clear about the term called debenture. Let us see the features of debenture. The first feature is promise. Debenture is a promise by a company that it owns a specified sum of money to the holder of the debenture. So if any particular company issue debentures to any person, that means he is owing that much amount of money from the investor, and it promised to pay that money at the time of maturity to the investor. Let us see the second one, that is the face value. The face value of debenture normally carries the higher denomination. It is of 100 or in multiple of rupees 100. So the face value, that is the basic value of debenture, would be rupees 100. It is not less than 100. We have seen in the preference share, the face value of preference share is also rupees 100, and here also the face value of debenture is also rupees 100. The third one, that is the time of repayment. Debentures are issued with the due date stated in the debenture certificate. The principal amount of debenture is repaid on maturity. So here we can say that is already when the company issued the debenture, already a stipulated time has been fixed up for 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, 15 years, something like that, according to the agreement made by the company and the investor, and at the time of maturity this particular amount need to be repaid back to the investor along with the rate of interest. The fourth one is a priority for repayment. Debenture holders have a priority in repayment of debenture capital over the other claimants of the company. So here the first and the foremost This particular party, the debenture holder, they come into the picture whenever there is a repayment of capital is being done, because first and the foremost priority has been given to the debenture holder. The next one is assurance of repayment. Debentures constitutes a long-term debt. They carry assurance of repayment on due date. So here we can say assurance has been given by the management of the company by creating a charge or by having any another kind of promise made by the company to the debenture holder, and they will make sure that whenever the maturity is being there, the company should repay the capital back to the investors of the debenture holder. The next point is interest. A fixed rate of interest is agreed upon and it is paid periodically in the case of debenture. Payment of interest is a fixed liability for the company. Whenever the debenture is been there, you have to pay the interest on the debenture irrespective of the profit or loss of the company, because that is a credit capital for the company. Debenture is a credit capital for the company, and irrespective of having a profit or loss in the company, you have to pay the interest to the debentures holders. Okay, so you all are very much clear about the interest. The next one, that is the seventh point, parties to the debenture. Normally there are three parties. The first party comes into the picture is the company who issues the debenture, who borrow the money from the debenture holder. The next one is a trustee. A company has to appoint debenture trustee if it is offering debenture to more than 500 people. This is a party through whom the company deals with the debenture holders. The company make an agreement with the trustee. It is known as a trust deed. It contains the obligation of company, rights of debentures, and powers of trustee. So here, if the company is issuing the debentures to more than 500 people, then there have to be one more person in between the debenture holder and the company, and that is known as a trustee. He will make an agreement on behalf of all the debentures of the company that will contain an obligation made by the company, the rights of the debenture holder, and the power of the trustee, and accordingly the company will deal with the debenture holder by the trustee. So I hope that you all are very much clear about the second term of trustee. And the third party that comes into the picture is debenture holders. These are the parties who provide the loan and receive debenture certificate as an evidence. So they provide the capital, they get the certificate of debenture that will act as an evidence that they have invested the capital and they are liable for getting the interest and the repayment of capital at the time of winding up of the company. The next point is authority to issue debenture. According to the Companies Act 2030, Section 179, subsection 3 of the Companies Act, the Board of Directors has the power to issue debenture. So only the Board of Directors has been given this particular right according to the Articles of Association of the company, that they can issue the debenture. No other person have any right to take the decision regarding the issuing of debentures or any decision related to the debentures of the company. Ninth one, status of debenture holder. Debenture holder is a creditors of the company. As I have said, they are the debt capital, they are act as a creditors of the company. Since debenture is a loan taken by company, interest is payable on it at a fixed rate, a fixed interval until the debentures are redeemed. So a specified amount rate of interest is been fixed on the stipulated amount, and that need to be paid regularly to the debenture holder, and at the time of maturity they have to repay back the total capital that is being there in the company from the debenture holder. Next one, no voting right. According to section 71 subsection 2 of the Companies Act 2030, no company shall issue any debenture carrying any voting right. So here, as like preference shareholder and as like the equity shareholders of the company, debenture holder does not have any kind of voting rights. Debenture holder have no right to vote at the general meeting, neither they have any kind of right to attend the meeting. Their capital is been safe and secured by creating a charge on the assets of the company, and that is a kind of an assurance, and because of this reason they do not have any kind of right from the company. The next one is security. Debentures are generally secured by fixed or floating charge on the assets of the company. By creating a fixed charge means what? A stipulated amount has been fixed, and floating charge means what? We can say there are so many assets of the company are there, but not one stipulated asset has been fixed regarding the debenture holders of the company, that this is the asset. If the company doesn't able to pay you the capital back, you are free to sell this the asset and get back your capital. So that if the debenture is been secured by fixed charge, then the specified asset of the company is been created a charge, and the floating charge, there is no specified asset, but the randomly or somewhere or the other the charge has been created on all or few assets of the company. So that is called the security. Let's see here one more. If a company is not in a position to make the repayment of interest or repayment of capital, debenture holder can sell off the charged property of the company and recover that money. So fixed charge, and thus when a fixed assets of the company has been known, that is like land and building. So land and building, the charge has been created, the debenture holder can sell off the land and building, and accordingly they can get their money back. But like furniture and fixture, there are other fixed assets of the company also are there, so they can sell off any particular assets and they can get their capital back. The next one is the issuer. Debentures can be issued by both private company as well as public limited company. So here both the company, private and public limited company, are free to issue the debentures. They can issue the debentures to the general public. The people are free to invest the debentures. The next one is a listing. Debentures must be listed with at least one recognized stock exchange. So there are many stock exchanges are there in India. As we live in Bombay, there is a Bombay Stock Exchange, Gujarat, Ahmedabad Stock Exchange is there. So there are many stock exchanges is there, and the company who is issuing the debenture, they have to list its stock exchange. They have to list its debenture to one of the stock exchange. The next one is the transferability. Debentures can be easily transferred through the instrument of transfer. So debentures can be transferred from one person to the another person easily. The person have to just sign the instrument of transfer, and the procedure is being done by completed by the company's management, and the transfer of debentures is possible. So I hope that you all are very much clear about all the 14 points of debentures related to the features of debentures. Let us see the next one, that is the types of debentures. So here this is the last concept that is related to the debenture, and there are total 8 points are there related to the debenture, and there are 4 subcategories are there, that is debentures on the basis of security, debentures on the basis of transfer, debentures on the basis of repayment, and debentures on the basis of conversion. And each subcategory have 2 subcategories in it, that is on the basis of security, there is a secured debenture and there is an unsecured debenture. Let us see the first one, that is a secured debenture. The debenture can be secured. Property of the company may be charged as a security for loan. So like it is like a mortgage. When the company's management decided to raise the capital through the debenture, they mortgage some assets by creating a charge on it from the debenture holder, and accordingly they can raise the capital from the company, from the investor. The security may be for some particular assets, that is like fixed asset, or it may be an asset in general, that is a floating charge. You can sell any particular asset. The debentures are secured through the trust deed, so that is known as a secured debentures. The next one is unsecured. These are the debentures that have no security. The issue of the unsecured debenture is now prohibited by the Companies Act. So here in the unsecured debenture, there is no such charge has been created on the fixed assets of the company, and because of that reason these kind of debentures are unsecured in nature. And now in the Companies Act 2013, this kind of debenture has been prohibited. So I hope that you all are understood the first one, that is on the basis of security, the secured debenture as well as unsecured debenture. Let us see the next one, that is on the basis of transfer. There are 2 types, registered debenture and bearer debenture. Let us see the first one. Registered debenture are those debentures on which the name of the holders are recorded. A company maintains register of debenture holders in which the name, address and particulars of holding of the debentures are entered, and transfer of register of debentures require execution of regular transfer deed. So registered debenture means what, that kind of debenture where the name of the debenture holder has been properly mentioned and specified along with the address and the particulars of holding of debentures in that company. So here if the name is there, how much amount they have invested, address of the particular person, each and everything when it has been mentioned in specifically in the debenture holders register of debenture holders, then we can call it as registered debentures. The next one is a bearer debenture. According to this debenture, the name of the holder is not recorded on the bearer debenture. This name do not appear on the register of debentures holders. Such debentures are transferable by mere delivery. Payment of interest is made by means of coupons attached to the debenture holder. So here in the bearer debenture, everything has been mentioned, but the most important thing, that is the name of the debenture holder, is not been mentioned in the register of debenture holder. The address is there, we can say particulars of holding will be there, but the name of the debenture holder is not been mentioned neither on the debenture certificate, neither in the register of debenture holder. And the person who holds the debenture certificate, that is a bearer debenture certificate, they will get the interest by presenting the coupon, because the coupon is already been attached. They will get the coupon, they will detach the coupon from that particular part, they will present it to the concerned bank, the bank will going to pay them the interest. So here the difference between the registered debenture and bearer debenture is that in the registered debenture, the name of the debenture holder is already been mentioned in a proper manner, whereas in the bearer debenture, the name of the debenture holder is not there. In the registered debenture holder, you have to follow the procedure regarding the transfer of debenture, whereas in the bearer debenture, you can transfer it by handling by mere delivery. So here you can transfer it by mere delivery, whereas the procedure need to be followed in the registered debenture holder. So I hope that you all are very much clear about the registered debentures and bearer debenture. Let us see the next one, that is a redeemable debenture. Redeemable debentures are mostly redeemable, that is payable at the end of some fixed period or paid to the person at the time of maturity. Repayment can be made at a fixed date at the end of a specified period or by installment during the lifetime of the company. So here in the redeemable debenture, there is already, we can say, the time is been fixed. The holder will invest the money in the company as a form of debenture for stipulated period, that is for 5 years or 10 years or 15 years, and at the end of the 5 years, 10 years or 15 years, the company will again pay back the capital, the principal amount to the debenture holders, and that is why this kind of debenture is known as a redeemable debenture. The provision for repayment is normally made in the trust deed. So each and everything will be specified whenever the trust deed has been signed by both the parties, that is by the issuer, that is by the debenture holder and the company. The terms and conditions regarding the investment and regarding the payment of capital is already been mentioned over there, and according to the obligation made by the company will repay back the debenture during its lifetime. Whereas in irredeemable debenture, these kinds of debentures are not repayable during the lifetime of the company. They are repayable only after the liquidation of the company, that is during the winding up of the company, when there is a breach of any condition or when some contingencies crisis arises. So in irredeemable debenture, it is a kind of debenture where the principal amount is not been paid to the investor during the lifetime of the company, whereas the principal amount has been paid to the investor of the debenture holder at the end of the winding up of the company, whereas the interest related to the debenture holder has been regularly paid to the debenture holder, but the issue of principal amount has been paid only at the end of winding up of the company. Let us see the last one, that is on the basis of conversion. There are two subcategories are there: convertible debenture, non-convertible debenture. In convertible debenture, the debenture holder have the right to convert its debenture into the equity shares after a specified period of time. Such right has been mentioned in the debenture certificate. The issue of convertible debenture must be approved by the special resolution in general meeting before they are issued to the public. These debentures are at the advantageous for the holder because of this conversion right. Convertible debenture is entitled to get equity shares at the rate of lower than the market value. So here we can say in the convertible debenture, the debenture holders, they can get the debentures converted into the fully paid up equity share at the specified time, that is at the time of maturity. Here this kind of conversion has been already being mentioned when the company will issue the debenture certificate to the debenture holder, that after the specified period of time all that amount of money will automatically get converted into the fully paid up equity share, and this is like an advantage to the holder of this debenture because the market value of the debenture of the equity share may be high. So here the debentures will be converted at a reasonable value that has been mentioned in the debenture certificate when the debenture is been issued to the investor. The next one, that is the last point, is non-convertible debenture. In non-convertible debenture, it is not been converted into the equity shares on maturity. These debentures are redeemed on maturity date. These debentures suffer from the disadvantages, there is no appreciation in the value. So in the non-convertible debenture, there is no such provision that at the time of maturity your debentures will automatically get converted into the equity share. So here the investor will get the capital back from the company at the time of maturity, and again they have to fill the application form for the equity share, and then they again have to invest their capital in the form of equity share. So there are some disadvantages related to such kind of debentures. So we have seen total 8 type of debentures. On the basis of security, we have seen secured and unsecured debentures. Secured debenture is a debenture where the charge on the asset has been created, and unsecured, there is no such charge has been created, and now according to the Companies Act there is no provision of issuing such kind of debentures. We have seen the debenture on the basis of transfer, that is registered and bearer debenture. Registered debenture is a debenture in which the name of the holder is been specifically mentioned in the register of debenture holder, whereas in the bearer debenture there is no name is been mentioned. It can be transferred by mere delivery. The person who holds the bearer debenture, they are entitled to get the interest by producing the interest coupon. The next one, that is on the basis of repayment, that is redeemable and irredeemable debenture. Redeemable debenture means that has been repaid at the specified time of maturity, and irredeemable debenture is it is not been paid during the lifetime of the company. Such debenture has been repaid at the end of the winding up of the company, whereas the interest on both the debentures will be paid to the investor on a regular period of time. And the next one, that is on the basis of conversion. Convertible debenture has been easily converted into the equity share, whereas the provision has already been made in the agreement. Whereas in non-convertible debenture, such debenture will not be converted into the equity share, whereas on the time of maturity the person will get the capital back, and again they have to reinvest the capital in the form of equity into the companies. So I hope that you all are very much clear about the total type of debentures. Thank you.